Belief is everything. So, what do you believe about you? There's a quote I just read that uses the word faith, which I believe is interchangeable with belief. And it goes like this: Fear can banish faith, but faith can banish fear. And that is the message, the aim, and the guide for today as we work on doing you and becoming the number one priority in your life. That your life, however you see your life, however you're living your life, wherever you are in your life, is a product of your faith and belief in your life, in its current form, in its previous form, and likely in its future form. And take that for what it's worth as I find myself struggling with my own faith and belief, and offer you that level of humility, vulnerability, and self-exposure. That I am in a space and time in my faith and belief where I can't help but question my faith and belief. And that's a byproduct probably of fear, likely of fear. It's a byproduct of failures and trippings and fallings. It's a byproduct of when you turn everything off at night and the lights go dark and you find yourself just with you. The questions around your faith, around your belief, about your life that permeate, that persist, and that insist on being heard in your mind. Because what are we really doing with our lives? Or what am I really doing with my life? Is that not a very real question around belief and faith? And as I analyze, assess, and try to rationalize where my life is and where it's possibly headed, what I believe has everything to do with it. And the key I want to really drive as well around belief is this: what I believe it to be is also what I believe it not to be. So if somehow you're questioning even the basic concept of, I don't have faith, I don't have belief, then that is your faith and belief. And that is really a lot of the limiting factors that I find for self. The balancing of what I certainly believe in and what I'm struggling to have belief in. And let's put it into context as far as how we decide to see ourselves. When you're alone with just you and it's really dark, regardless of what has happened and what has brought you into the space of darkness, is it not natural to start to project out into the future? Because you come into the current state, the current reality of where you are, and you say to yourself, okay, this might not be exactly where I want to be. Whether it's a bad day, bad week, bad month, whatever. A difficult circumstance, difficult relationship, something unexpected, as trivial or as large. Irregardless, you're in a space, you're here, and you're thinking about what it could be. Is there anyone who doesn't take a view into the future that doesn't see a better future than what their current reality is? Is that not an obvious thing to do? Is that not a common thing for us to do as people? Because why would we look out into the future and see less or see worse for ourselves? Who would believe that we could do that? And yet when we peel back from the future and return to our current form, we know that clearly we're not what we see in the future. And the likelihood is the future is just another today. And we know in our souls the belief around you got to do something today for tomorrow, because tomorrow eventually turns into today. But many todays persist and insist and challenge you on what you believe in, and of course, as importantly then, what you clearly don't believe in. And one of the things that brought me to this conclusion about, man, I see a better future. Man, I want a better future. And I believe without a shadow of a doubt that I am putting in the level of effort and work required to attain the type of today that I believe I should have in the future as early as right now. Because I've learned that why would you believe otherwise? Why would you have a different mindset? Why would you not have the faith to believe that the future today is just a day away? It could be that literal. In any event, reality has a way of proving that what you believe sometimes doesn't really match what you see. And it puts you in a mindset of, are you gonna only believe it when you see it, or you believe it because you see it? And one of the analogies I brought me to that continues to drive me towards, I believe it because I can see it. And it's just a matter of continuing to do what I believe I need to do, whatever it is I believe I need to do, inclusive of what I believe I don't need to do. I love using sports as an analogy. It's basketball season coming up. I'm a Knicks fan. They've made a plethora of moves. And one of the biggest things you'll see with sports athletes, they always highlight the stars. You have players who sign massive contracts. I'm going to sign for the max, 150, 250, hundreds of millions of dollars. Let me put it to you like this about the significance of those contracts and what it means for your faith and what you believe and what you don't believe. When someone signs that new deal and gets all those hundreds of millions of dollars, almost always, because nothing's 100%. Sometimes people are well overpaid and you're like, that's a bad move. But here's the reality to why that player is receiving those hundreds of millions of dollars. It's because of who they already were, because of who they believe to be, and now you're paying them for what you hope they continue to do. Because once you pay them, you project that they might continue to do these things, but you project that they might continue to do these things based on everything they've already done, based on everything they've already shown you, which means that in the same way as you are watching, observing, and believing that that player is deserving, that player wasn't always that type of player. He might have had the potential, or they might have had the potential, but they had to believe that they were worthy of those hundreds of millions of dollars before they even got it, because their first contract's on hundreds of millions of dollars. And so they're behaving and they're performing as their future selves today, knowing that if they continue to do these things, they'll receive that payout later. So relating that to the common man, as not all of us will be sports athletes, and not all of us truly will receive hundreds of millions of dollars, because that's just the way the world works. What are you believing yourself to be? What do you have faith in with regards to your life? What is it you want to see that you don't see? And if you don't see it, how do you change your belief to ensure that it eventually reveals itself? Because at some point, at some very fundamental, basic point, you will be left alone to yourself. Whether it's really small in the beginning, a few minutes a day, because you're a bit younger and you're distracted and bombarded with all these things you think you need to do, or whether you're progressing in age and life starts to hit you in different ways, and if you're in your 40s like me, you know exactly what that means. Whether you're even further out and the window of life is beginning to shrink, we all know what the conclusions are when you start running out of time. It is that your life is exactly what you believed it was, and your life will continue to be exactly what you believe it to be, and never will it change unless you change what you believe. Change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Do you and stay rich.